Feeling called to help others? Here are 3 powerful tips for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins, a professional psychologist, and in the years that I've spent coaching people who want to help others, I've noticed some things. And a lot of times people who feel called to help other people aren't sure exactly where to start. You're in the right place. So my first tip for you is to pay attention. You feel called to this, and there are some reasons why that is true. Not everybody does. When I've provided mentoring and training for new coaches or influencers, they feel like it's really their purpose in life to do this, to get out there and help people in some very unique ways. The reasons that you feel called to this get back to your unique abilities. Dan Sullivan is an entrepreneurial coach who talks about this quite a bit, that there is a unique set of skills that you have. Not only skills, but interests and desires and inclinations that other people just don't have. Now, you might have some similarities with other people, but your particular package is uniquely designed for you, and it puts you in a position to serve people in some unique ways. Pay attention. There are reasons that you feel called to do this. Now, obviously, feeling called to do it isn't enough, because there's a lot that you need to wrap your head around to get to a place where you can actually do it for a living. So my next tip has to do with don't go at it alone. Associate with people who understand what it is that you feel called to do. Being an entrepreneur in any way can be very challenging and daunting, and sometimes becomes a very solitary and lonely kind of a task. Get some support from people who get you. You know, as I'm sharing these tips with you, I'm thinking back on some of my own history. I'm a professional psychologist. I went to school, got a PhD, got my licensing and credentials to become a full-blown psychologist. I had, for the first part of my career, a traditional psychotherapy practice where I would bring my clients in, I'd give them a diagnosis, I'd bill their insurance company, and I'd work them through a treatment plan toward resolving their depression or their anxiety or some relationship issues that were coming up for them. It was me working directly with my clients, but I found that I always functioned better as a psychologist when I was hanging out with or associating with or consulting with other psychologists. When I made the transition to do more positive psychology and life coaching, which comprises my entire practice now, I found that some of my older psychologist friends didn't really understand what I was doing anymore because the model changed. And I had to find people to support me who understood what it was that I was trying to do. I found that that community was more aligned with coaching and speaking and influencer types of activities than it was with traditional psychology. That meant I had to shift my focus a little bit on who I was surrounding myself with. You know, you've probably heard it before that you're going to become like the 5 people you hang out with the most. Be very selective about who you surround yourself with. Find people who understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish and the ways that you would like to help people, and hang out with them. Mastermind groups, trainings, opportunities to network and connect. These are so important. It sustains you as a professional, and it also gives you a huge resource for finding new ideas about how to move your business forward or how to really serve the people that you feel called to serve. You know, I've got one more tip for you. Before I do that, would you take a moment to subscribe? You're going to find here on this channel a lot of videos that support you as a helping professional or as an entrepreneur. I've got your back. Click the subscribe button. My last tip for you, at least on this video, is to take courageous action. So reviewing where we've been already, notice that you feel called to do this. Pay attention to that. The second tip was to associate with people who get it And then the third step is to take courageous action. There's a couple of parts of that I'd like to focus on. Courageous first. If it doesn't strike just a little fear into your heart to move forward and do this thing, then you're probably not thinking big enough. And it's normal to feel that. Most people, just as they get started into life coaching, for example, I provide support and training for a lot of life coaches in a positivity model. And they feel a little like imposters. Have you experienced that before? The imposter syndrome, where it's like, I think I'm out of my league here. I'm not sure I'm up for this. Really, really common. And that creates a little bit of anxiety in our mind and in our heart. That's normal. You're going to feel some of that. In fact, if you're taking courageous action, you will feel some pain. You will feel some trepidation. That's normal. It just shows that you're getting out of your comfort zone. And check it out. Everything that you want that you don't currently have is outside of your comfort zone. By definition, that's how we can tell that we're stretching and expanding. So notice that it's normal and you get to work through it anyway. There's two things that we can do with our fears. We can avoid them, run away from them, or we can face them and take them on. When you're facing your fears, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it more than you normally would. So just notice that and be courageous. The word courage implies fear. If you're not afraid of something, you can't really have courage. So just notice that. Be aware of it. I love that my job is illuminating the obvious. I get to call things to people's attention that are totally obvious once I bring it to your attention, but unnoticed up until that point. And this is one of them. So have that courage. Now, the other part of that tip is action. Remember, the tip is take courageous action. Action means you actually move. One of the traps that I find people get into when they want to do a helping profession like coaching is that they think about it a lot. Can you relate? They think about it. They maybe even talk about it. Look, there's a big difference between think about, talk about, and walk about. I remember an old movie, Crocodile Dundee. This was pretty popular when I was younger. And in this movie, this Australian outback frontiersman takes walkabouts. That's when he'll go wander around the outback for sometimes months at a time. But it has that action attached to it. Walkabout. You can think about, you can talk about, and you can walk about. One little tip that goes along with that, I have found that I get to launch things just before I feel ready. Can you relate to that? You don't quite feel ready, and I don't know when you will. What would it be like to feel ready? Most of the things that we want to do are unprecedented for us, meaning we haven't done it before. So feeling ready sometimes is the feeling that we have when we've done something multiple times and we get used to it. When you're launching into something new, you're probably not going to feel ready. So taking courageous action implies that you're going to feel some fear, and you'll do it anyway. One of my coaches told me, take an educated guess. There's two parts to that. You want it to be educated, but at some point you can't know everything in advance, so you get to guess at that point. Make an educated guess and then move forward. One other thing that she shared with me that was helpful, output at B-. Done is better than perfect. When you see a next step that you can take, don't worry about getting it perfect. Just go for it. Output at B- means it needs to be good enough, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And as you practice that, you get more used to it. I've mentioned throughout this video that I provide training and support and coaching and even certification for people who want to get into helping professions, like life coaches, for example, based on a model of positivity that is proprietary, that I have a copyright on, but I can license people to use that. Are you one of those people who would like to make a difference for others by helping them to be more positive? If this video is resonating with you and you're finding it helpful, I would invite you to take a free assessment. Go to the URL that's on the screen right now, drpauljenkins.com/practitioner quiz. Practitioner quiz. That's all one word. When you go there, you'll have a quick assessment that you can take. It's only going to take you a few minutes to fill it out. And after you've filled it out, I'll send you the results that show where you are in the process of developing into a positivity practitioner. I'll share that with you. You'll know what your next steps are. If that makes sense to you and you'd like to try it out, go to drpauljenkins.com/practitioner quiz, totally free, and I will give you the feedback that will help you to know where you are in this process.